This is the tale of Anya and the 7 lost wonders of Willow Creek. In the heart of a sprawling valley, nestled beside a winding river, lay the charming village of Willow Creek. It was a place known for its friendly folk, its delicious berry pies, and, most importantly, its 7 legendary wonders. These weren't grand monuments of stone, but rather magical, natural treasures whispered about in hushed tones: the Singing Waterfall, the Ever-Blooming Meadow, the Sparkling Caves, the Whispering Woods, a different one from Alara's, the Dancing Fireflies, the Stone That Tells Stories, and the Invisible Bridge. For generations, the children of Willow Creek had grown up hearing tales of these wonders, but as time went by, they seemed to fade. The Singing Waterfall's melody grew faint, the Ever-Blooming Meadow had patches of withered flowers, the Sparkling Caves lost their shimmer, the Whispering Woods fell silent, the Dancing Fireflies became fewer and dimmer, the Stone That Tells Stories grew cold and still, and the Invisible Bridge, well, no one had seen that in living memory. In a cozy little cottage on the edge of Willow Creek lived a spirited girl named Anya. She had a wild tangle of brown curls, eyes that sparkled with curiosity, and an adventurous heart. Anya loved the stories of the 7 wonders, and unlike the other children who had started to dismiss them as old wives' tales, Anya believed. She felt a pull, a sense that these wonders were still out there, just lost. One crisp autumn morning, Anya decided she couldn't wait any longer. She packed a knapsack with a piece of berry pie, a flask of water, and a notebook, and set off to find the first of the lost wonders, the Singing Waterfall. The old stories said the waterfall was hidden deep within the sunken glade. Anya followed winding paths, climbed over mossy rocks, and listened intently for any hint of a melody. Hours passed, and all she heard was the rustling of leaves and the chirping of birds. Just as she was starting to feel discouraged, she noticed a small, moss-covered stone with strange symbols etched into it. Remembering a tale her grandmother had told her, Anya gently traced the symbols with her finger. As she did, a faint, high-pitched hum filled the air. She followed the sound, pushing through a curtain of ivy, and there it was, the Singing Waterfall. But its song was weak, a mere whisper of its former glory. The water trickled down the rocks instead of cascading with a joyful melody. Anya sat by the waterfall, feeling a pang of sadness. She dipped her hand in the cool water and noticed it felt strangely heavy. Looking closer, she saw that the pool at the bottom was clogged with smooth, gray stones that seemed to absorb the sound. Carefully, patiently, Anya began to remove the stones, one by one. It took a long time, and her hands grew cold, but she didn't give up. As the last of the heavy stones was removed, a change began to happen. The trickle of water grew stronger, and as it rushed over the clean rocks, a beautiful, clear melody filled the glade. The Singing Waterfall was starting to sing again. Emboldened by her success, Anya set off to find the second wonder, the Ever-Blooming Meadow. The legend said it was located on the highest hill overlooking Willow Creek. The climb was long and steep, and when Anya finally reached the summit, she found a meadow, yes, but many of the flowers were withered and brown. Only a few hardy blooms clung to life. Anya noticed that the soil in the barren patches was hard and dry. Remembering how her grandfather cared for his garden, she realized the meadow needed water. But there was no stream or spring nearby. Then, she spotted a cluster of large, smooth rocks. The stories mentioned that these rocks held the morning dew, slowly releasing it to nourish the meadow. But the rocks were covered in a thick layer of dust and moss, preventing them from collecting the dew. Anya spent the rest of the day carefully cleaning each rock with water from her flask and soft leaves. It was tiring work, but as the sun began to set, she saw tiny droplets of dew forming on the clean surfaces. The next morning, when Anya returned, the meadow was transformed. Overnight, the dew had seeped into the soil, and new shoots of green were pushing through. The remaining flowers looked vibrant, and tiny buds were beginning to unfurl. The Ever-Blooming Meadow was stirring back to life. Her journey continued, leading her to the Sparkling Caves, hidden behind a hidden passage in the Whispering Woods, the silent one. Inside, the walls were dull and gray. The stories spoke of crystals that shimmered with every color imaginable, reflecting the light like 1,000 tiny rainbows. Anya discovered that the crystals were covered in a layer of soot, likely from a long-ago fire. Carefully, using her water and soft moss, she cleaned each crystal, revealing their hidden brilliance. Soon, the cave sparkled once more, casting dazzling patterns on the walls. Finding the Whispering Woods, the Silent One, was a different kind of challenge. It wasn't a specific place, but a part of the larger forest where the wind used to carry secrets and stories through the leaves. Now, it was eerily quiet. Anya spent days walking through the trees, listening. She noticed that many of the younger saplings were tangled and struggling, preventing the wind from flowing freely. With gentle hands, she entangled the branches, allowing the air to move through the woods once more. Slowly, as the wind began to rustle through the leaves without obstruction, soft, sighing sounds filled the air. The whispers were returning. Next, she sought the dancing fireflies, said to gather in a hidden grove by the Moonpetal Pond. When Anya arrived, the grove was dark, and only a few lonely fireflies blinked weakly. She noticed that the pond was choked with fallen leaves and stagnant water, likely attracting fewer insects for the fireflies to feed on. Anya spent hours clearing the pond, scooping out the leaves and letting fresh water flow in from a nearby stream. As the pond became cleaner, more insects appeared, and as dusk fell, the grove came alive with hundreds of twinkling fireflies, their lights dancing in mesmerizing patterns. The stone that tells stories was a large, flat rock said to be found near the oldest tree in Willow Creek. When Anya found it, the stone was cold and still, its surface smooth and revealing. The stories said that the stone needed to be warmed by kindness and listened to with an open heart. Anya sat beside the stone, sharing her berry pie with a curious squirrel and singing soft songs. She told the stone about her journey and her hopes for the wonders. As she spoke from her heart, a faint warmth spread through the stone, and she began to see faint images flicker across its surface, glimpses of the village's past, of children playing by the Singing Waterfall, of families picnicking in the Ever-Blooming Meadow. The stone was remembering its stories. Finally, Anya's quest led her to the invisible bridge. No one knew exactly where it was, only that it connected to seemingly unreachable cliffs across a deep ravine. Anya searched and searched, but found no sign of a bridge. Feeling a little disheartened, she sat on the edge of the ravine, looking across at the other side. She realized that the bridge wasn't a physical thing you could see, but something else. The stories spoke of trust and connection. Looking closely, Anya noticed a series of sturdy vines that grew across the ravine, hidden amongst the foliage. They weren't a traditional bridge, but someone with courage and trust could use them to cross. The invisible bridge, she realized, was the belief in connection, even when it wasn't immediately obvious. As Anya returned to Willow Creek, the village felt different. The faint melody of the Singing Waterfall drifted through the air. A vibrant splash of color bloomed on the hilltop. A soft shimmer emanated from the woods. The gentle whispers carried on the breeze. The night sky twinkled with the light of countless fireflies. And the oldest tree seemed to hum with untold stories. The villagers were astonished. They had almost forgotten the magic of their home. Anya, tired but beaming, shared her adventures. She explained that the wonders weren't truly lost, just neglected. They needed care, kindness, and a little bit of effort to be rediscovered. From that day on, the children of Willow Creek didn't just hear stories of the 7 wonders, they visited them. They helped tend the ever-blooming meadow, cleaned the sparkling caves, and listened to the whispers of the woods. They learned that the true magic of Willow Creek wasn't just in the wonders themselves, but in the act of caring for them and keeping their stories alive. And Anya, the little girl with the adventurous heart, became a legend herself, the one who reminded Willow Creek that even the most forgotten wonders can be found again with a little bit of belief and a lot of heart. And so, Willow Creek thrived once more, its 7 wonders shining brighter than ever before. All thanks to the determination and kindness of one brave little girl.